What is up, guys? It's No Grace back in with AHD Garage, and today we are talking about how to adapt wheels with the wrong PCD or bolt pattern to your car. Let's get to it. So you'll see I have a few options here on how to adapt these 4x108 wheels to my 1980 RX-7 here that has a 4x110 bolt pattern. So, your easiest way is to use wobble bolts or wobble lugs if that's an option for you. So if you're adapting a 4x112, 4x110, 4x108, 5x112, 5x114 car, 5x115, these will work great for you, whether it be studs or lug nuts, as you'll see here. I don't have any wobble lug nuts with the separate washer on them. This is what your standard lug nut would look like. This is what your standard lug stud will look like. Notice how the cone is built in to the bolt itself, then you have the shank and then the threaded area of the bolt. Then you'll see the wobble bolt has the actual cone built into this little spacer slash washer here, built into the bolt itself. You'll notice the bolt is flat so that this bolt can actually sit down inside the wheel like that, and the PCD can actually move back and forth about 2 millimeters. Whereas you'll notice with your standard lug stud, it just stays in place. Can't really move side to side at all, versus this one can slide back and forth freely. Next, you have the option of using wheel spacers slash wheel adapting spacers. These ones adapt a 4x100 car, like the Miata, to a 4x108 wheel like the Fox body. These are not really the safest option, shall I say, because they are not hub-centric. The inner diameter of the car matches, the inner diameter of the adapter here does match the hub of the Miata, but you'll notice there's no hub-centric lip on there. So there's a center bore on your car here, and using this center hub from the wheel bearing or like the drum that this car has, or your standard rotor wheel bearing on another car, is what that lip is what you want to sit on the inside of this wheel hub here. This bore down in the center, so there's that little lip inside the bolt pattern there. You want the lip on the hub to sit in the inside of that wheel perfectly. Shift this around real quick. You'll notice I have these little plastic rings here. These are called hub-centric rings. So this takes this from a 60.1 millimeter hub bore and takes it up to a 71.6, I believe, or 72. I forget what the exact is. That is the center bore of this wheel here. So if you don't have these center hub-centric rings here, your wheel will want to wobble back and forth, and it'll change the PCD by itself before it's tightened. You want to watch that especially when you're using these wobble bolts here, because like we had talked about before, if it's sitting on that hub, before you tighten it, it could go crooked or side to side, up and down, and then when you're driving down the highway doing 60 miles an hour, you're going to feel a rough vibration in the front end. Your third and final option is to re-drill the holes for the car. So with here, if you notice on the back of the wheel, there was like a lot of meat there. It's a flat surface. So if you wanted to, you could drill a whole new bolt pattern back here because the whole surface is flat. Or if you have a 4x108 wheel like this one, and you want to go to 4x110, you could actually slot these holes here, just slightly outwards, and keep the cone shape and then use a standard lug stud. Personally, I'm not a fan of re-drilling any wheel because it hurts the structural integrity of it, but by all means, you do what you do. Whatever pleases you. We're going to go ahead and put that hub-centric ring on there. Now we'll roll this guy up. Go ahead and get her bolted up, and I'll show you what the difference is. So you'll see here I have this wheel mounted up from the Fox body with the wobble lugs on, but I do not have the hub-centric ring in there adapting my hub bore to the center hub bore of this wheel here. You'll notice, of course I don't have the lugs tightened completely, of course, but you'll notice when I lift up and downward on the wheel or side to side, it shifts a lot because I don't have the hub-centric ring in there, keeping the center hub completely centered in the center of the wheel. Lots of centering there. Make sure it's centered. So when going up and down or side to side, you'll see a lot of movement here. You can move side to side pretty freely there. Of course, like I said, the lug bolts aren't completely tightened, holding the wheel against. But even then, say the lug bolts are completely tightened, you hit a hard bump on one of these wheels, like say you hit a pothole or just vibration from high speeds, it's still going to shift that wheel upwards. And the wheel's going to go around. It's going to act like, kind of like a squish circle, like a little bit of an oval, I guess you could say. It's going to go up, and then it's going to be longer, actually, or technically taller on its way around. So the wheel itself will actually shift over a few millimeters, about 2, of course, considering the lug bolts, and it'll actually hit the ground faster than last time when it was just in the center. That is why I recommend always using hub-centric rings or hub-centric correct spacers, because you'll see here there's no lip there like we talked about before, so I can't put that hub-centric ring on there to adapt it. When I mount the wheel to this surface, it's just going to move freely however it feels. If you want to, you can put faith in the conical shape of the lug nuts or lug studs, but I'm not a huge fan of that. I tend to put a lot of miles on my cars and I tend to abuse them a lot, so I try to be as safe as I can, I guess. That is pretty about all I have to say about this, honestly. Well, I couldn't blue ball you, so I had to show you what it looked like with the hub-centric ring in place and the wobble bolts. No more movement. Now everything's tightened down. Everything's tightened down. I got tire rubbing up against the fender on the other side. But now everything's tightened down, ready to go. You're safe. No lateral movement, no crazy oval spin around at 70 miles an hour. Good. This is very good, very good. But you stuck around this far. I really appreciate it. Come back again for more DIY / how-to, or if you're just curious and want to learn, I'm always here. Have a nice weekend. See you next time.